More often than not, baseball is a game of superstitions. Don't talk about a no-hitter while it's happening. Turn your hat inside out to start a rally. Wear a golden thong if you're in a slump at the plate. Wait, what was that last one? And if you're already believing in the supernatural, you might as well believe in baseball curses as well, like the curse of the Billy Goat, the curse of the Bambino, hell, even the MLB The Show cover curse, which is a thing in every sport, I guess. Baseball is chock full of these whimsical coincidences that fans just use as gospel, because for some reason, we need to attach a reason to things happening rather than just throwing up our shoulders and saying, that's baseball, Susan. Well, I think I've discovered the latest curse in the baseball zeitgeist, and I gotta say, it doesn't bode well for my favorite kind of hitter to watch. Slap hitters of the game, pure hitters of the game, beware, because I think that winning the batting title is actually a bad thing now. Sorry. Now, if your name is Luis Arias, you might scoff at this because you've won 3 in a row and seem to be doing just fine for yourself, but today we're going to highlight 4 batting title winners in the last 5 years and how each of their careers has taken a serious nosedive after accomplishing one of the hardest things to do in baseball. And after all that, we'll come to a conclusion as to whether or not the batting title curse is even real. Before we get into it, make sure you leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you've been enjoying my content lately. I'd really appreciate it. Now let's get into it. After a stretch from 2011 to 2017 where 7 different batting titles were awarded to 2 men in Miguel Cabrera and Jose Altuve, a young shortstop from the Chicago White Sox became a breath of fresh air. Coming off a solid campaign at age 25 where he was still below league average offensively, Tim Anderson shocked many baseball fans by hitting .335 in the 2019 season, raising his batting average by nearly 100 points and his OPS by nearly 200 points between seasons. It was the highest single season batting average clip by a White Sox player in over 2 decades, going back to Frank Thomas's stellar 1997 campaign where he hit .347. Anderson was not only a free spirit but a free swinger, but in the juice ball season where offense was up, it made for a very exciting offensive profile. However, the warning signs for Anderson's regression as a hitter were always there. In addition to winning the batting title, Anderson also won the BABIP title, which isn't a thing. Okay, he didn't actually win the BABIP title. His .399 batting average on balls in play was second in MLB only to his teammate Yoan Moncada, who finished with a mark above 400. But since 2000, only 5 players have finished a qualified season with a BABIP mark that high. Anderson also finished the season with an alarmingly bad plate discipline profile, to the tune of a 2.9% walk rate, making him the first batter in MLB history to win a batting title while finishing last among qualified hitters in walks drawn. It didn't help that his 26 errors at shortstop were also the highest total in MLB that season as well. Tim Anderson was a very volatile player. The upside and athleticism were clearly there, but there were many things to improve on as a baseball player. But with a ton accomplished already, Tim Anderson quickly became a household name. Between on-field scuffles, emphatic bat flips, and now a batting title after years of being one of the game's most hyped prospects, many baseball fans, including myself, expected great things out of Anderson in the years that followed. In the 2 years that followed 2019, it looked as though that was happening. Anderson hit above 300 in each of the next 2 seasons, helping Chicago make the playoffs in both years. Injuries would plague his 2022 campaign before things took an ugly turn very quickly the following year. Anderson's age 30 season hit him like a freight train in 2023, as each metric in his triple slash line fell below a mark of 300. His negative 2.0 wins above replacement was the lowest value of any player in baseball that season, one of just 30 players since the turn of the century to have a season with -2 WAR. And it's worth mentioning that Tim Anderson was on the cover of a baseball video game when this downturn started to happen. That's right. Oh, no, not MLB The Show. I'm talking about RBI Baseball, everyone's favorite baseball video game. I mean, look at this. That's good shit, right? We can also see a very sharp increase in Anderson's ground ball rates following the 2019 season, as his percentages spiked by 8 ticks and plateaued at that area for the remainder of his playing career to that point. His batting average on balls in play remained high relative to league average even in seasons where he performed poorly, suggesting that the 2019 juiced ball may have had a ton to do with the Anderson peak of offensive success. Whether you want to attribute this to a juiced ball, various injuries, a middle finger to the crowd, or a single punch from Jose Ramirez, nothing has been the same for Tim Anderson since that 2019 batting title. And he'll try to catch on with the Los Angeles Angels this year in what feels like the last real shot for him to be an everyday big league player. What's funny is that the runner-up to Tim Anderson in 2019 ended up claiming the title from him the following season in the 60-game shortened campaign. That would be DJ LeMahieu of the New York Yankees. 4 years after winning the award in the National League for the 2016 Colorado Rockies, DJ LeMahieu signed a 2-year deal with the Yankees and tore the cover off the ball in 2020 for his new team. LeMahieu led the American League in wins above replacement, on-base percentage, on-base plus slugging, and of course, batting average, with an absurd .364 clip. LeMahieu became the 10th Yankees player ever to win a batting title and the first player in MLB history to win a batting title in both leagues, a feat only repeated by Luis Arias a couple years down the line. Not only did this lead DJ to a top 3 finish in American League MVP voting, but it also earned him a lucrative new contract with the New York Yankees as the club signed him to a 6-year, $90 million deal to be the bridge to Aaron Judge. LeMahieu was certainly another suspect in terms of who took the most advantage of the juiced ball, coming off a career-high 26 home runs in 2019 when he never put up more than 15 in any other season of his now 15-year career. LeMahieu was always known as a contact hitter, an all-fields hitter, and not really a guy that could give you a lot of pop, so when he led the American League in OPS in 2020, some eyebrows were raised. However, I think there was still reasonable belief that LeMahieu would continue to be a productive MLB hitter through the early goings of his new contract, but unfortunately, the batting title curse afflicted on DJ would be injuries. Well, I shouldn't just say injuries, right? We should probably go over the entire list, so let's take a look, and oh my god. Okay, July 31st, 2021, a right tricep strain causes DJ to miss a game. He ends up playing with this for the rest of the season. September 25th, same year, DJ has soreness in the groin area but misses no serious time. He just like me for real.
What do you mean by that?
A week later, he's diagnosed with a sports hernia and has to get off-season surgery, so he misses the 2021 AL wildcard game. August 16th, 2022, nearly a calendar year later, DJ is actually having a great season, but he has right toe inflammation. He's been trying to play with it for a few weeks, but he ends up going on the injured list. He once again misses the postseason, though this time he opts to not get surgery. Are you keeping up? Are you taking notes?
Ron, are you paying attention? Nope.
March 30th, 2024, a couple days from the regular season getting going, DJ suffers a right foot fracture at the end of spring training. He's going to miss the first 55 games of the regular season. And then finally, September 6th of 2024, near the end of the year, he goes on the injured list with a right hip impingement, something he's been trying to play through for about a month now. He misses the final 22 games of the regular season, and he also misses out on the entire run to the World Series for the Yankees, and that takes us to now. Okay, I am out of breath, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm feeling some soreness in my toe, and my foot, tricep, and my hernia. What is a hernia? Comment down below what a hernia is. Or actually, don't do that, I can just Google it. It's really an ill-fated situation for someone who was revered as a great teammate, a superb defender at multiple positions, and a player who had impeccable bat-to-ball skills. DJ missed roughly 25% of all regular season games from 2021 to 2024, and has missed all 3 postseason runs for the New York Yankees during the entirety of his new contract. He's been a below-league average offensive player over the past 4 seasons combined, despite some great play in the 2022 season. At age 36, he's arguably the biggest question mark on the roster heading into the upcoming season. With $30 million still owed to LeMahieu over the next 2 seasons, it's hard to say when exactly the Yankees will pull the plug on the DJ era. The 2020 American League batting title for DJ LeMahieu should have been the start of a great story in the Bronx, but instead, it became the peak of a rather unfortunate tale. So the American League batting title was cursed in 2019 and 2020, but just natural probability means that we're probably going to get something different in 2021, right? I mean, who won the batting title in 2021 in the American League? Did you guys also completely forget that this happened? Before the newly signed Christian Walker and the disastrous Jose Abreu tenure in Houston, the longtime first baseman of the Astros was Yuli Gurriel. He was the cornerstone piece for the majority of their run to 7 straight championship series appearances, and while he was never the best hitter on the team, he was a valuable cog in the lineup nonetheless. But after 3 straight years of consistent production, Gurriel slumped heavily in the 2020 season like many of the other Astros hitters who were dealing with the fallout of the 2017 cheating scandal hitting the public. Many question marks surrounded the club heading into 2021, coming off a losing record in the regular season despite still reaching the ALCS thanks to the expanded playoffs. Listen, I'm actually a pretty big Rob Manfred supporter when it comes to a lot of his changes, but did we really need this? Look at this lineup. This is a playoff lineup? Get the fuck out of here. But coming off the pandemic season, Gurriel showed up to spring training 15 pounds lighter, looking more athletic overall. At age 37, there were questions about whether or not he'd still be able to play. And the Astros took a decent gamble when they signed him to a one-year extension with a club option for 2022 on pretty team-friendly terms. That ended up being a genius decision. Gurriel had a higher batting average than Juan Soto, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and Bryce Harper in 2021, slightly edging out his teammate Michael Brantley to shockingly win the American League batting title in a very competitive field. He became the second Cuban-born player ever to win an MLB batting title alongside Tony Oliva, and also the second Astros player ever to win this honor alongside his teammate Jose Altuve, who did so 3 times prior. But perhaps most impressive of all was the elite class of veteran players he joined through this award. Only 4 players aged 37 or older were able to win a batting title in the last 60 years. The list includes George Brett, a 3-time winner in 3 different decades, Tony Gwynn, who won the most batting titles in MLB history with 8 overall, and Barry Bonds, the only man to win multiple batting titles at this age or older. It's not hyperbolic to call Yuli Gurriel's 2021 season a truly historic baseball season, and it's especially improbable when you consider that Gurriel had never finished a season with a batting average that began over 300. That's not even factoring in the massive dip in offense across the league in 2021 during the fallout of the juiced ball era. League batting average was down 8 ticks and league OPS was down 30 ticks from the mark set in 2019. However, like our other 2 entries to this list, there were signals for regression beyond this landmark season. Gurriel had one of the widest ranges between expected and actual batting averages of any qualified hitter in the 2021 season, but easily the biggest signifier for an incoming decline was his age. The 2021 season was the 6th of his career, but it was also his age 37 season since he came up so late. It's incredibly rare for hitters this old to even maintain a league average rate of offense, let alone win a batting title, and Gurriel, like many other MLB players that came before him, would fall victim to the undefeated boss known as Father Time. He was worth negative wins above replacement in the season that followed, watching his average drop 70 points and his OPS drop 200 points between seasons. Houston made the difficult decision to move on from Gurriel that offseason, signing Jose Abreu to a 3-year deal and watching him somehow be even worse than Gurriel. He's since bounced around from Miami to Kansas City and has a decent shot to crack the Padres opening day roster at age 41 this year, but his 2021 peak and rapid downfall is a story in baseball as old as time. The following year brings us our final entrant into this cursed qualification, and it's our first and only from the National League. Leading up to the season, the story of Jeff McNeil and the New York Mets had been one of ups and downs. McNeil was one of the best players in the game in 2019 with a 5-WAR season where he hit 23 home runs and hit well above 300. He did so despite never being heralded as one of the Mets' top prospects, even with impressive numbers in the minor leagues throughout his career. His next full season paled in comparison, as his slugging rate dropped from above 500 to the mid-300s and his batting average followed suit, causing him to finish well below league average offensively. Off the field, he was involved in an uncharacteristic scuffle with newly acquired shortstop Francisco Lindor, making all the wrong headlines mid-season. Trade rumors began to circulate around the 30-year-old second baseman, with much uncertainty heading into 2022. But after pairing up with new hitting coach Eric Chavez, the light bulb went back on for Jeff McNeil. From the get-go of the season, he looked like his old self, hitting to all fields and striking out less than basically any hitter in the big leagues. After hitting near 400 in April, he steadied that momentum towards the mid-season, and his torrid pace led him to become a National League All-Star starter. He was the first Mets position player to accomplish this since David Wright did so nearly a decade prior in 2013. McNeil ended the year with a .326 batting average, which led him to the NL batting title, the first Mets player to win this accolade since Jose Reyes in 2011. As it stands, McNeil is still the only player in Mets franchise history to lead the majors as a whole in batting over a single season. McNeil set new career bests in wins above replacement, batting average, and doubles in a career year at age 30. Everything came together for Jeff McNeil thanks to this season. Francisco Lindor bought him a new car, he lived out his dream of playing for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic, and even inked a 4-year, $50 million extension in the offseason to avoid free agency. But much like his career dictated to that point, McNeil would again go through an ebb and flow following this peak. The next year proved to be a rough go as McNeil fell back below below league average despite playing a career high in games. Nothing has really gone right for the Flying Squirrel since his batting title win, as he suffered a partially torn UCL at the conclusion of the 2023 season and continued to struggle the following year with a .216 batting average and .591 OPS in the first half of 2024. When Jeff McNeil and the Mets discovered that a longer, quicker swing began to improve his numbers thanks to new bat speed metrics, a right wrist fracture cut his season short in September before his overall statistics could truly rebound. Jeff McNeil is probably the lone case of these four with a decent bit of optimism heading into the new season, but in the third year of an underwhelming extension, the odds are certainly stacked against Jeff McNeil. We'll have to wait and see what he can do, and if he can overcome this curse. So there's 4 examples in the last 5 years of the batting title curse. So is it real? Kind of. I think we just view batting average in a very different way than we used to. We prioritize other things like OPS and OPS plus and WAR and those kind of statistics more so than batting average. That doesn't mean that winning a batting title is meaningless. I still think it's one of the hardest things to do in baseball, but I do think that the randomness of who comes out as the batting champion year in and year out is a little bit more volatile these days, except for, of course, Luis Arias, who's going to do it every year until we're all dead. But you know what? I do think that the curse is in pretty good hands to be broken because Bobby Witt Jr. won it last year, and he's probably going to win it again this year. But I do hope that you enjoyed today's video. If you did, leave a like on the video and subscribe to the Jolly Olive channel. I would really appreciate it. That's all I got for you guys, and I'll see you guys next time.